stations across the land, joepags.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email. It's all right there. Also, Newsmax TV. The Joe Pags Show coming your way on a Thursday. Really glad to have back to the program from campusreform.org. It's a great website to go to find great reporting from young reporters that put the legacy media to shame. It's Eduardo Neret. Eduardo, how are you?
Joe, I'm great. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome. And there's a slight delay today, and I think the audio could be a little bit better, but you're in France, for God's sakes. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, I hope your audience will forgive me, but there's a lot of great content, so I'm halfway around the world. I think it'll work.
I think this is acceptable for you being in France. All right, we talked about this for a second, and it was an interesting answer that you gave. I know that you've been there for a little while, and you parlez français. I don't. I've got two sentences I can say. But you're walking around, and you're talking to people, and I guess, that starts a conversation. What are you hearing about the United States? What are you hearing about Trump? What is France that owes us its very existence saying?
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is I think a lot of people get the same biased media that's very prevalent in the U.S. So there's no Fox News here in Europe. There's no conservative media outlets. And I actually think, too, just from being on Google, you search things and you get a lot of it's very difficult to pull up a Fox News article, even on Google. They get really biased sources. A lot of people tell me on the streets, they ask me what the environment is with Trump. I've even spoken to some French people who they're anti-socialist. Look, they don't like socialism. They don't like left-wing politics. But then they have this idea of Trump that's not who he is. So I wouldn't say that they're the biggest fans of Trump. And frankly, I've spoken to some kids as well, and this is even worse because it's the next generation. They've told me, hey, look, the idea of a nation, we think nations are outdated. We're for this, one world, one European Union type thing. So I sort of think it's scary. I think it has to do with the education. I think it has to do with the media access available. But I would say Trump's not too popular here in Europe, unfortunately.
That's pretty well. Look, it's not surprising. There's been a globalist agenda that's been pushed. The G20, the G8, all these things, all these get-togethers. The European Union, for goodness sakes, also basically said, well, there's really no France and no Poland and no England. Let's just all be one big place. So I can see why they have a globalist view. They've been educated, as you said, to believe that. Did they ask you specifics about Trump, and were you able to at least correct a little of their misunderstanding, or no?
I try. They ask who, does Trump really have supporters out there? Who are these people who like him? Why do they like him? And I explain it's very similar. I say, look, you guys have for example, let's talk about immigration. I say, you guys have a migrant problem. You guys don't necessarily like the open border thing. There's some of you who don't like that. And so us supporting Trump is a similar thing. But again, when you don't have a Newsmax, when you don't have a Fox News, when you don't have Breitbart, when you don't have outlets that are speaking to people like your network does, it's difficult. So people are really getting a slanted view.
It's very interesting. Eduardo Neret, go follow him on Twitter. It's at EDUNERET. Go and do that right now. I follow him, and he's a good follow. He's a great correspondent from campusreform.org. Make sure you go there Monday through Friday, even Saturday and Sunday, and check out their great stories. Let's get into it. University of Florida, Gainesville. I don't think of Gainesville. I grew up in South Florida, so that's pretty far away. But I don't think of Gainesville as like really ultra blue country, but it's a university. So you're going to have 12-to-1 professors that are liberal versus conservative. And they're now telling people who might be going to school there, who are going to school there, and they're in the country illegally, just come out and talk about it. Go ahead and expose yourself. Why are they doing this? What are they calling it? Are they calling it something?
So yeah, this is a program that they're really looking to launch in the fall. The program I attended was for faculty and staff only. It's called UndocuPeers. It's a sensitivity training to make people at the University of Florida aware that they're illegal immigrant students, and they want to train people to be receptive to their sensitivities, be aware of what they're going through. Now, my issue with that is the chief thing that they focus on throughout the training is they talk about all the struggles and hardships that illegal immigrants go through. They victimize, for example, illegal immigrants struggle to pay through school. They struggle with stress and mental health. They have to work to go through school. They have to get jobs. And I'm sitting there through the training and I'm thinking, well, a lot of students on campus have to work through school.
Of course.
A lot of students on campus deal with the stress of studying. So, what is this where they're trying to make a special category as if illegal immigrant students are the only students who have financial hardships and mental? That sort of victimization I'm not a huge fan of.
It's kind of like the left always trying to victimize somebody who gets the benefit. The illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, those who are here illegally, getting in-state tuition, getting extra help in financing. Now you're teaching people to be sensitive to their thought process or something. These are people who have gotten a free ride by getting into the country. Just being in the country illegally is a benefit that they've been given, whether they're DACA recipients or not. And these people are getting the American dream through illegal means. So already they're ahead of the game. Like if my kid goes to school because I'm an American citizen and I make a couple of bucks, she's not going to get the same benefits an illegal alien would going into the same exact school. So that person gets a leg up. Yet the left is telling you and me, treat them like a special class of people that somehow is being held down. That's not true at all, is it?
Well, and it's outrageous because, as you said, they already have so many benefits. They should be thankful that they're here to begin with. They should be thankful that they get in-state tuition, which they don't deserve. And yet they're meant to complain and we're meant to bend over backward to appease them, when really, if I were one of them and I'd be like, gee, the fact that I'm even here is a blessing and I should put my head down and get to work like every other student on campus. Here's the other thing that should be investigated that I think your viewers will find alarming. So the diversity official that gave the training at the University of Florida confirmed to us at Campus Reform that basically when illegal immigrant students apply to the University of Florida, they're falsifying their applications. So here's the thing, for those of viewers who aren't aware, when you apply to a public institution like the University of Florida, you either mark yourself as a citizen and you present your social security number, or if you say you're a legal immigrant student, you give them your F1 visa number or, the appropriate visa number. Now, I've kind of filled out an application on my own, and there's no place to check that you're accepted. Now, why should that offend your viewers? Well, we all know that colleges and universities like to accept international students because they pay a higher tuition rate.
Right.
So it's in the university's benefit to accept these international students. They get more money. So if these illegal immigrant students are applying and saying, hey, we're international, the university may give them, an advantage in the application process, thinking that they're going to get this higher tuition, only to, after they're accepted, find out that, oh, by the way, they're going to pay an in-state tuition. So they're not being honest in the application process.
Right.
They're taking advantage of things that they really should have no access to, and it's really quite unfair.
Well, they're basically defrauding the university by saying you're going to get this amount of money and then taking a certain chunk of that money away by, by the way, I got the in-state tuition. It is Eduardo Neret. Go ahead.
It's only after they get in that they let the university know, hey, by the way, I qualify for this in-state tuition waiver, so I'm not going to be paying that international rate. So the university doesn't know that until after.
To which the university should say, sorry, too late. You didn't put it in your application. You're not going to get the in-state tuition. It really is that easy to solve, Eduardo. The problem is, if the university were to say that, they'd be called racist, and they don't want to be called racist. That's exactly the game they're playing.
Unreal.
It is Eduardo Neret at EduNeret. At EduNeret. And again, he's in France, so there's a bit of a delay. That's why we're talking over each other a little bit, and I can appreciate that you're doing it from there. Well, it's late at night, isn't it? About 10, 11 o'clock at night now?
It is. It's hitting 11, but I'm up at this time anyway, so it's perfect.
Yeah, okay. I want to go to the next story. Inspired by Michelle Obama, who once said, punch them in the neck if they're a political opponent. Some Colorado professor wants to punch political opponents in the neck, too. That's awesome. Let's punch everybody.
Yeah, so she has now put her Twitter account to private, but Campus Reform, we were taking a little bit of a look at her tweets, and she had a lot of bizarre tweets. Her most bizarre one being that this was in response to Michelle Obama's saying, when they go low, we go high. Yeah. And she said, well, I just read Michelle Obama's book, and actually she quote tweeted someone else, and she said, yeah, when they go low, I'm ready to punch them in the neck. And so this when we see Antifa around the country, when we see these violence on college campuses, it's being pushed by professors like this who are basically saying, hey, someone disagrees with you? Yeah, just go punch them in the neck. I mean, it's outrageous.
It is outrageous. And by the way, Michelle Obama saying when they go low, we go high is another one of those things like the illegal immigration thing that we just talked about, making victims out of people who are getting all the benefits. Michelle Obama said that, but she goes low every single time. They've been low on Donald Trump and his family and the right and Republicans for 10 solid years now in the public eye. So she can say that, but it's that liberal game where I'm going to say one thing, I'm going to do something completely different, and if you call me on it, I'm going to say that you're a racist. That's kind of what the game.
Well, and her Twitter account had a bunch of other bizarre tweets about race. I mean, she seems to be a very race-obsessed person, saying it's okay if you don't want to date white men because white men, people of color should stay away from white men. And I'm reading her tweets and I'm thinking, isn't that going low? So it's okay for them to go low, but if anybody else goes low, you go punch them in the neck.
Right, you punch them in the neck and they're a racist or a homophobe or a xenophobe or something. Yeah. It's Eduardo Neret coming from France today, for God's sakes. Students say Obama immigration, quote, is racist, but only when they think that it's Donald Trump. Now, this is something that Cabot Phillips does, your media director. I love these when he goes out in the man on the street stuff. And he'll read quotes from Obama or from Hillary Clinton or from somebody on the left. And then he'll say that they're from Trump and people hate them. And then when he says, oh, by the way, Obama said that, I love the reaction. Tell me about the reactions. First of all, what was the quote? Do you know?
It was a quote about, illegal crossings are up by a certain percent over the last few years. We have to be vigilant to reduce crime, and we have to increase deportation of these criminal illegal aliens. So it was a quote that Obama had. And again, Cabot's great at doing this. He does one of these about once a week. You can check out at campusreform.org. But again, at first, the students are, the typical response on a college campus. It's like xenophobic. This sounds white nationalisty to me. First of all, they don't even know what those words mean.
White nationalisty? Is that what they really said? With a Y at the end?
Yeah. She said it's white nationalisty. It's just hilarious. And when Cabot tells them, when he shows them the video that's Obama, just their facial expressions and their reactions are priceless. Some of them don't know what to say. At least I give some of them credit. Some of them seem to be open-minded, and they say, that's interesting. I didn't think that President Obama would say that. And I hope videos like these, Cabot's work, Campus Reform's work, I hope students around the country can really open their eyes to an alternative viewpoint, because, again, what we're getting on college campuses, and again, you can see all of this at campusreform.org, is students are getting a really biased education. They're really getting, you can almost call it brainwashing, and they're really getting a slanted view of how things are going on in the country.
What I love about what you guys do at campusreform.org, go there every day like I do, it's Eduardo Neret, is that we find that if you have a conversation with these young people, many of them are open to hearing the other side that they were never exposed to. And once they hear the other side, then they're shown fact, like a video of Obama saying it, they go, well, wait a second. Maybe what Trump's saying isn't racist, and maybe I'm getting some bad information here. Now, some people are going to be closed-minded about it and move on. But at the end of the day, if they're never, ever exposed to the other side, they don't think there is one.
Yeah, and it's on people like us, unfortunately. We shouldn't have to do this, but it's on the other side. It's on people like us to spread the message, spread the truth, because unfortunately, they're not going to get that on a college campus. They're certainly not getting it from the media. So if you know someone out there who has students on a campus, if you know college students, talk to them every once in a while. Ask them about these stories you read on Campus Reform, that you read on Newsmax, and say, hey, have you heard about this? Did you see this going on? What do you think about it? Because that's really the way that we're going to change minds.
It is Eduardo Neret coming to us from Frenchy French France. It's at EDUNERET. That's his Twitter account. Go and follow him there. Eduardo, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you guys do at campusreform.org. Again, I want everybody to go there every day. Check out that latest video from Cabot Phillips and all the reporting from Eduardo and the other great reporters. Thanks a million, my friend.
Thanks so much for having me, Joe. Thanks again.
You bet. We're back after this on the Joe Pag Show. Stay right